Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here, and today I'm going to be doing a follow-up to a video that I made last year called Analyzing PlayStation's Next Live Services. In that last video, I talked about some of the upcoming live services that PlayStation has in the works. That time around, it was Fair Games, Marathon, and the Horizon game from Guerrilla that still surprisingly has not been announced or publicly shown off. But for this video, I wanted to talk about one returning game from that list that has had a lot of stuff happen with it in the time since that last video came out, and talk about two new entries that got revealed in 2025 that have an assumed 2026 release date. So I'm gonna start with Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, because this is the one that I think out of the three has the most potential to be really good and be a big success for PlayStation. But I have some issues with the game that cropped up when I was invited to participate in one of the beta weekends that they have held a couple times last year, because I want to dispel this notion that only hardcore FGC people are criticizing Tokon, because this is something I've seen being thrown around by people running defense for this game against criticism. And I say that because I am as casual as they get with fighting games these days. And even I have serious reservations about the game after playing the beta for that weekend. And this early pre-release phase is the best time to express my concerns and grievances, because I want this game to be really good. I think it has a ton of potential. Arc System thankfully still has lots of time to make improvements, to fix some of the complaints that I have about the game. So rather than running defense for the game and having it come out all fucked up and lose a lot of the momentum that it's going to get at launch because of some long-term issues that I see with it, now is the time to criticize it, because I love so much about this game. I love its style. I love the stages. I love the character designs. The basic gameplay feels really, really good. I don't even mind certain things that some parts of the community have really disliked, like the stage phase transitions that feel like they slow down the action in favor of, you know, having a stage transition and just in the comic book panel style. And I really, really like that. I think that is a really cool idea. The problem is I enjoyed everything about the beta except the actual more advanced gameplay beyond, you know, once the novelty wore off of, oh my god, I'm playing Marvel Tokon, a new anime-inspired Marvel fighting game from Arc System Works. Once that novelty wore off and I started playing more and more competitively, especially against actual players, that is when I started to go, oh no, there are some big problems with this right now. And I think one of the biggest things that is going to be difficult for ArcSys to get around is this inclusion of the 4v4, because 3v3 I understand, but 4v4, just from the way Marvel Tokon, how flashy it is and how animated it is, and how anytime you're doing these big combos, there's just tons of effects and tons of characters flying around, especially if you're doing the tag system. 4v4 to me seems very unwieldy, and I just think visually there's just way too much going on at once to really get a sense of what the timing is on certain things. And this is the biggest problem I have with this game right now, is the combo system. Specifically, it's the auto combo system, where Marvel Tokon makes it very clear when you're doing the opening tutorial that you can just spam one button and like a couple others to chain it, and you'll get this like crazy ass flashy combo where multiple characters are coming in and juggling the opponent, and it's like, it looks really cool when you're the one dishing it out. Unfortunately, I just think it is way overused to the point where any other type of strategy in this game feels completely useless. And I mentioned earlier that the basic gameplay felt really good, you know, when you're trying to play footsies with your opponent and lure them into a certain thing. Unfortunately, once that auto combo system comes in, all sense of strategy and tactical gameplay seems to just fly out the window in favor of this flashy spectacle. It's one thing to be on the receiving end of a flurry of ridiculous combos and be annoyed. And there were multiple times where I was just getting fucking thrown around by these auto combos, and I'm like, is it my turn to play now? Because all I'm doing is just sitting here getting fucked, and there's no way to defend myself. Because another problem is that when you are fighting and trying to do, you know, combos, unintentional super meter burn is just way too common because it's way too easy to activate an auto combo and get like some crazy ass flashy combo in there. And like I said, it's one thing to be on the receiving end of this. It's a whole nother thing to be on the giving end of this flurry of ridiculous combos and be bored. Because I found myself in that situation multiple times too, where I would accidentally activate a combo and just kind of feel like I didn't really earn that. I didn't really do anything strategic to earn that combo, to earn my opponent getting flown and busted up all around the arena, to where I was just sitting there just going, oh, okay, and watching my meter burn, there where I couldn't use more advanced combos later. I couldn't use a specific type of super move because my meter burn had taken it all out, and it's just, that whole shit I thought was just bad. I just straight up, again, if there's any time to criticize it, it's now. That auto combo system is bad. That shit needs to be toned down majorly. They need to add in way more defensive capabilities. They need to make it much easier to pull off defensive capabilities. They need to make it a lot easier to figure out in the middle of a combo what the timing is. They need to really put a damper on that like tagging system. It's just too much, just way too much. I think I understand what Arc System Works is trying to go for with this game, because they are trying to appeal to two separate audiences, where they're trying to appeal to a very casual audience that's going to see Spider-Man fighting Storm and go, oh my god, Storm fighting Spider-Man, $70, here you go, and buy it. Then you have the other audience that they're going for, which is the more hardcore, knowledgeable FGC fighting community that wants to have the depth of something like the old Marvel vs. Capcom games. And it's trying to stay in two lanes at the same time, but it's not really doing a good enough job compromising between the two to appease both crowds. And I feel like if they can't get that situated, then they're just going to have to pick one. Either they're going to have to go for the more hardcore FGC fighting community and really tone down the auto combo shit, or they're going to have to go for just very casualized market where people will just be fighting against other casual players or fighting against the CPUs and have a blast seeing the same flashy auto combos over and over and over again. Thankfully, Arc Sys, they have plenty of time to improve and refine Tokon. PlayStation has more time to show it, reveal more characters, show, hopefully, like, Punisher, Wolverine, Hulk, all those characters are in it, Daredevil that I like. And I think there's potential here. I really do. Like I said, when you actually engage with the basic mechanics and don't just auto combo your way into victory, I think Marvel Tokon is a really thrilling fighting game. I just, in those like moments where I got a really good opponent who didn't auto combo spam or like stuff like that, I had a really, really good time. I really enjoyed it, even when losing, because I'm very bad at the game. But I think it's a good sign too that in those moments when the auto combo system wasn't getting thrown in my face, or I wasn't really playing into it, that I was having a good time even when I was losing. There's potential here, but Arc Sys has a lot of work to do. And I think if they can get it right, this game is going to be a big success for PlayStation. So the second game that I wanted to talk about is For Loop, which is the game that is in the works from Bad Robot Games. It is being directed by old Valve alumni Mike Booth, who is credited with being the creator of Left 4 Dead. And normally it wouldn't be here because strangely the first time we heard about this game was in this really strange press release before the game was shown off at the Game Awards last year. And I want to just show one part of the press release that already was a red flag warning for me, because it seems that PlayStation is not the only one that likes to overuse the words bold and innovative. So This is from Anna Sweet, who's the CEO of Bad Robot Games. With the support of PlayStation, we hope to deliver a bold, innovative experience that is truly special for players. Yeah, now that I've seen the trailer for 4 Loop, then I've gotten a better idea of what it is. I don't see much about this that is bold or innovative. Herman Holst isn't the only one who now uses these terms now very loosely. Now he's getting other people to use them. I feel like at this point, there has to be some kind of contract stipulation where any game that is being worked on with PlayStation in a second-party capacity that's a live service, they have to say that it's a bold and innovative experience. Because it just sounds good, but one of the games they called a bold and innovative experience was Concord, and yeah, look how that turned out. But my major thing with 4 Loop, after seeing the trailer and reading up about it, is that to me, this game looks a lot like we have Helldivers 2 at home. It has third-person shooting, it's gory, it's focused on a life is cheap mentality, focused on you being a disposable sack of meat in a meat grinder, displaying a sardonic gallows sense of humor. And I look at this and I just go, if this has the tone and style that Helldivers is kind of going for, why would I leave playing Helldivers 2 to go play this? I think that's a reasonable question, because it just looks so much to me like Helldivers 2, minus some of the alien designs being different. To be honest, I look at 4 Loop, this is the one that I have the least to say about, because I don't think this is gonna go very well for PlayStation. I don't think it's gonna be like Concord level failure, people mocking it and ridiculing it, because the community reception is very divided on this game. So very divided is still better than the initial reception of Concord and Fair Games. So there is still a chance that they can win over more people. I think this is just going to be yet another game like the Midnight Murder Club or other live services that Sony has tried, and then like the distant past, like Kill Strain, that is going to come out and just be met with kind of a shrug and a lot of indifference. Because again, you're saying we want to create a Left 4 Dead experience. Okay, why don't people just stick with Left 4 Dead? We want to create an experience that's like Helldivers 2. Why don't people just stick with Helldivers? What is it about this game that is bold and innovative, that is going to get them away from other live services and get them into 4 Loop? I think this would have a better shot if something like Back 4 Blood didn't come out, because we already had the media hype cycle for that game where it was the, hey guys, you get to play Left 4 Dead again, isn't that great? And then Back 4 Blood came out and it just didn't do as well as they were hoping it would, and the interest in it kind of died off, and people again just went back to Left 4 Dead because those are great games. And I just see the same thing happening with 4 Loop, unfortunately, because unless they come out with a new trailer sometime over the next few months that's like a banger and it really convinces people, or they get an open beta out there and people really like it, sorry, Bad Robot, I just don't see it, unfortunately. So the final thing that I want to talk about, and it's a game that I already talked about in the last video, but I have some new things to say, is of course Bungie's Marathon. I had reservations last year about the market accepting another big extraction shooter until Arc Raiders came out. And then that's when I saw like how successful that game was and how many copies it sold and how much money it generated for Embark, to where this might be a case where a rising tide raises all boats, because it's getting a certain subset, a new audience out there of mainly console players that haven't played things like Escape from Tarkov or Hunt Showdown, interested in the extraction shooter genre. But Arc Raiders seems to be a thing that's priming a new audience, and if Bungie plays their cards right, they might be able to get more people on board with Marathon. But I also think Bungie fans, or at least some of them, are really being super gullible when it comes to this game, specifically Marathon, because these people like to complain all day and night about Bungie. and how they treat Destiny and their loyal player base and the whole plagiarism scandal around Marathon. But all it takes is one highly edited and scripted Vidoc to get them to start saying things like, yo, Bungie cooked, man, and just singing Bungie's praises about how they seem to have turned this game around. Now, credit where credit is due, from my perspective. I think Marathon looks much better visually. However, praising basic features in an extraction shooter, such as proximity chat and good sound design, is ridiculous. Especially when the last time we heard about the inclusion of prox chat, or the lack of it in Marathon, you had Joe Ziegler, who's the game director, talking about how prox chat was this miracle of science that they wouldn't be able to put into Marathon because they don't believe in adding it into an extraction shooter because of toxicity. And I have a whole stream clip about that, my response to that on the channel, and how stupid I thought that was. Them including prox chat now, they basically had to get bullied and humiliated into adding prox chat, and now people are acting like this is some great, amazing inclusion. It's like, no, this is a basic thing. Don't praise basic things being added into an extraction shooter. And I also think Bungie being praised for including battle passes that don't expire is extra amusing to me, considering they're obviously taking that cue from Helldivers 2 and how popular that decision is for that game. I still find it funny that Helldivers 2 is now unintentionally like the gold standard for live services when it comes to PlayStation, and taking business decisions from that game, taking creative cues from it, and applying it to Bungie, the team they acquired to tell them how to make live services. I find that bitterly amusing. And I get, Bungie did not cook. Like, no, come on. This is yet another case where they had their backs firmly against a wall because of their own stupidity and arrogance, and they had to swallow their own ego and pivot for the millionth time. It's the same thing that happened with the post-Final Shape Destiny 2, same shit they tried doing with the Portal, with Edge of Fate, and they had to really turn that back around and make Destiny 2 somewhat enjoyable again because it was becoming annoying and the player base was leaving. This is yet again another case where Bungie just fucks up, shoots themselves in the foot, and now they have to hobble back to the starting line and try to go again. They gotta eat a whole bunch of crow because of their own stupidity. So I'm not gonna give Bungie that much credit after seeing that Vidoc. Not going to. I refuse to give them that much credit. But I am very eager to find out how this goes in March, because the community sentiment, even not including the Bungie sycophants that are going to praise this game no matter what, the general community sentiment, especially compared to how this reveal went back in April of last year, is much more positive now. And the closed tech tests they have been conducting have been receiving increasingly positive feedback. I still believe that this will be a success in the short term because of Bungie's name being attached to it. But again, I have significant doubts about its long-term success. Bungie is Bungie, and that means they are their own worst enemy. I don't care how much PlayStation tries to go in and clean them up. As I said in a previous video about Destiny, I will be shocked if they don't find a way to fuck this up in the long term, even if it gets the assumed positive buzz at launch. Knowing Bungie, they're gonna find some way to fuck this up within a year of its post-release existence. I'm very confident in that because, again, Bungie is Bungie, and they are their own worst enemy. And I mentioned this in the last stream that I did, but live services are a very strange and risky business. In hindsight, I think one of the major reasons why Sony's initial vision for their live service initiative failed is that they attempted to buy their way into being a powerhouse by trying to turn live service success into a formula that consistently yields good results. But you can't do that with live services because there are so many unpredictable factors around them that help or hinder a game. It's like trying to roll dice at a craps table while a gust of wind is blowing against you. Anything can turn those dice one way or another, even after they leave your hand and hit the table. I mean, just look at High Guard, for instance. I don't think that game would have as much shit attached to it if they didn't pay Jeff Keighley to be the final game announced at the Game Awards last year. Look at Arc Raiders. I think Marathon shitting the bed so badly around that time gave Arc Raiders an unpredictable boost. They basically got major positive PR for free, because that is how live services go. It is an unpredictable, weird business, and you can't turn it into a formula. If I can say one hopeful thing for Marathon to end this video, is that I do think the success of Arc Raiders might ironically end up being the major thing that helps Bungie achieve success with this. Because a rising tide, in a lot of cases, does raise all boats. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think of these upcoming live services. And as always, I am Razorblade Mango. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one. Take care.